meet War Thunder's very own Terminator. Wait, no, not that Terminator. I mean the BMPT, along with its little brother, the BMPT-72. Two completely harmless infantry support vehicles. With a humble 30mm autocannon packing a mere 81mm of penetration, even using 3 UBR-8 APDs, they can barely scratch any real tank armor. Their missile count is laughably low, forcing you to sit completely helpless at a cap point once all 4 ATGMs are spent. You could say they are easily among the weakest bottom feeders in War Thunder. Or are they? In reality, both vehicles were born from the painful lessons of the Afghan and Chechen wars. Facing anti-tank infantry hiding in urban warfare, conventional MBTs lacked gun elevation, while standard IFVs were paper-thin. To plug this tactical gap, Ural-Vaganzavad slapped high-elevation autocannons and ATGMs straight onto heavy tank chassis, creating the ultimate escort designed to clear short-range threats for heavy armor. The BMPT-72, introduced in 2013, was simply a cost-optimized, streamlined export variant. In-game, however, the BMPT tells a completely different story. Back during its debut at BR 10.3, it wreaked absolute havoc on mid-top tier, and even after being bumped up to 11.7, it remains an absolute menace. While perfectly showcasing Gaijin's pure predatory commercial greed. This is largely thanks to War Thunder's map design. Most engagements devolve into tight, point-blank brawls, nowhere near realistic combat ranges. This close-quarters meat grinder provides the perfect playground for the BMPT. Even if its raw firepower seems modest on paper, make no mistake, the BMPT didn't earn its terrifying reputation just from its autocannons alone. Unfortunately, if you're a newer player, you won't get to enjoy the free win era of the BMPT. Thanks to a series of subtle nerfs and balance tweaks by BVVD in recent updates, it's no longer the brainless, overpowered monster it used to be. To be precise, ever since its BR was forcefully dragged up to 11.7, the pack premium BMPT-72, the one you can just throw cash at, has suffered a severe drop in performance. But it's worth noting that from day one, the true focal point of every debate was always the tech tree original BMPT anyway. Now, while our previous episodes usually focused on pack premiums, today we're breaking tradition to focus primarily on the main tech tree version. Because frankly, it's no exaggeration to say that the original tech tree BMPT flat out embarrassing the premium BMPT-72 in nearly every meaningful way. First, the most obvious strength. Both the BMPT and the 72 model feature an unmanned turret, with their missile launchers mounted at roughly the same elevated height. This allows their tall upper turret structure to shoot comfortably over ridges and cover while staying hull down. Especially in urban maps packed with rubble and waist-high barriers, this layout perfectly fulfills the vehicle's original battlefield purpose. Keep in mind though, because the missile launchers aren't center-mounted, you'll sometimes need to angle your vehicle slightly to get a clean shot, especially when one side is blocked by walls or cover. As a quick pro tip, the ATGMs fire in sequence from right to left. Memorizing this order will save you from those painful moments where a missile clips a wall and detonates right in your face during a close fight. Next up is the armament. First, the twin 2A42 autocannons. While they won't reliably one-shot MBTs from the front, they remain an absolute nightmare to deal with. Packing a fire rate of 550 rounds per minute, they can completely disarm and disable an enemy in seconds, though most of the time, that ends up as a kill assist rather than an actual destruction. Then we have the 49 M121 tandem charge ATGMs. While 800mm of penetration isn't mind-blowing for top-tier missiles, it's more than enough to delete any MBT from the side in a single hit. But if you swap your target from an MBT to light tanks or IFVs, the script flips entirely. Your autocannons will literally vaporize paper armor in a heartbeat. Just imagine driving a wheeled tank, turning a corner, and staring straight into the barrels of a BMPT, pure, unadulterated horror. There is one huge catch here, though. As a premium pack, the BMPT-72 comes spaded right out of the box. The Tech Tree BMPT, on the other hand, forces you to grind out the 3 UBR-8 APDs belt first. Because if you jump into close-quarters fights using the stock H5 belts, you'll quickly suffer a miserable fate. Not only will your shots fail to penetrate, but the nearby explosions and ammo ignitions will literally roast your own crew members alive inside the tank. Next up. Honestly, I wasn't even sure if I should mention this separately, because if you've reached top tier, you're probably all too familiar with Soviet design quirks, namely a dismal -5 degrees of gun depression and turtle-like reverse speed. Indeed, Whether it's the T-72 chassis on the 72 model or the T-90 base on the original BMPT, their transmissions are horribly dated. A forward speed of 60 kilometers per h is manageable, even if power-to-weight ratios rarely let you reach it, but the reverse speed sits at a pathetic -4 kilometers per h. This means if you get caught out in the open, backing into cover is pretty much out of the question. Honestly, my advice, if you're stuck, don't bother reversing. Just dump continuous autocannon fire into their optics and aggressively charge forward. Speaking of chassis, that brings us to the core reason why the original BMPT was once so ridiculously overpowered, and why the BMPT-72 is simply no longer worth buying. The absolute biggest difference lies in the original BMPT's T-90 base, which added 2 extra grenade launcher stations flanking the driver. This bumped the crew count from 3 up to a massive 5-man crew, an absolute game changer. Even leaving ERA and hull armor completely aside, unless the enemy gets a flawlessly perfect angle, it's almost impossible to wipe all 5 crew members in a single shot. The premium BMPT-72, however, sticks with the old 3-man layout, creating a massive gap in real-world survivability between the two. Secondly, both vehicles come equipped with internal spall liners, which effectively absorb a decent amount of deadly shrapnel. However, the real game changer is the relict explosive reactive armor fitted on the BMPT. While the premium BMPT-72 also rocks relict ERA, the Tech Tree BMPT boasts a double-layered ERA setup across its frontal section. This absurd arrangement dramatically increases its chances of straight-up magically eating enemy APFSD's rounds without taking a scratch. Here's a fun piece of trivia that many players actually miss. The Tech Tree BMPT has an extra composite armor plate fitted on its lower front plate, which the BMPT-72 completely lacks. While this might not offer much against top-tier MBT darts, it makes a massive difference against light tanks throwing sub-caliber rounds. Take the US HSTVL's XM885 round as an example. With 273 mm of penetration, it punches straight through almost the entire lower plate of the BMPT-72. But against the Tech Tree BMPT, that extra plate makes the lower front nearly impenetrable. And even if it does penetrate, it deals minimal damage. Against agile, high fire rate light tanks, this gives you a huge defensive upper hand. Unfortunately, after repeated BR bumps and meta shifts, both the BMPT and BMPT-72 have lost some of their former legendary dominant spark. The recent update brought the trophy APS system to the M1A2HV, along with reinforced turret ring armor for both it and the SEP V3, indirectly nerfing the BMPT's offensive power. Worse yet, thanks to Gaijin's legendary spaghetti code in the latest patch, ATGM detonation rates have skyrocketed, turning full vehicle ammo rack explosions into a daily routine. Though let's be real, whenever a shell still gets magically swallowed by one today, it's enough to raise anyone's blood pressure. Dragged all the way from its absurd release BR of 10.3 to 10.7, 11.3, and finally 11.7 today, even BVD clearly realized how brain-dead and game-breaking it was to place this monster at 10.3 in the first place. But beyond its individual survivability and raw firepower, what truly ruined game balance was the sheer swarm of them. As everyone witnessed during sales seasons, endless waves of BMPTs and BMPT-72 steamrolled the battlefield, a modern iteration of the classic Soviet steel torrent. The catastrophic damage that caused to top-tier match environments was truly beyond measure. All in all, the BMPT has fallen from grace, though its aggressive threat remains real. However, lacking one-shot kill power, plus a now highly explosive ATGM rack, prevents it from steamrolling lobbies like before. But for game balance, that's probably a good thing, even if light tanks still have to run for their lives. As for the premium BMPT-72, my verdict is simple. It's not worth buying. All the hype belongs strictly to the Tech Tree version, not this stripped-down bundle. Of course, if you're desperate for a lineup or just love throwing money at BVVD, go right ahead. Finally, if you enjoyed this review or liked the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. That way, you'll be the first to catch my latest roast of BVVD's endless sins.